Hi there. My name is Zach, and today I'm going to walk you through how we can sync layer data to Excel via Layers API. So we're going to use this example project here that I've called API example, and we're going to basically pull in a bunch of punch list issues into an Excel spreadsheet. So I'm going to open up Excel, and in Excel, we're going to start in the data tab right here. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a web query from web. So if you click on that, this will launch the URL editor here. So we're going to click on advanced, and this will allow us to create basically parts of a URL for our call. So first things first, we're going to use our base URL, and all API calls are made to api.layer.team. And then we can add the endpoint that we're looking for here. So next I'm going to type projects. And then next I need my actual project ID for my project. So if I go back to my layer project, I'll show you where you can find this. In the URL, you can find your project ID right here after the word project. And you can find, for the next step too, you can find your category ID here. So I'm going to copy my project ID, and we're going to paste it into my URL. Okay, so next I'm going to type a backslash, and we're going to type elements. This will tell the layer API that we want to get all of the elements within this project. But for my scenario, I actually just want to narrow it down to a specific category. So after elements, we're going to come down to this text box down here to create a new part of our URL. And to specify my category, I'm going to type question mark category ID equals. Now I'm going to paste my category ID here. Again, we can find that in the URL of the project we're looking for. And we'll paste it there. Okay, the last step here is I need to create one more part to our URL. And I'm going to add another query parameter to our URL. So I'm going to type the ampersand sign, and I'm going to type format equals simple. What this will do is for tools like Excel and Power BI, this is a setting, an optional setting that kind of simplifies the data that's coming back from the API. All right, so with my URL parts defined, the last step that I need to do is actually authorize this call. So I need to add a header parameter. And so the key of the parameter is going to be authorization. By the way, this is case sensitive. And then secondly, I need to add the value, which is going to be bearer space, and then my API token. Okay, so you'll see I pasted my API token in here, and this is not the whole token that you're seeing. It actually bleeds off of the input, and that's to be expected. Your API token is fairly long. That's just the beginning of it. If you're looking for where to find your API token, you can find it in your account settings in Layer under the section called Layer API Token. If you don't see that section there, reach out to us and we can get you access to the API. Okay, so now that we have this completed, I can hit OK, and this will make the URL call for this project. So you can see this opens up Excel's Power Query Editor. And this is where we're going to transform the data coming in from our API. And we only have to do this part once. When we refresh the data, all these steps are going to be saved for us so that it's automatically brought into Excel the same way that we expected it to be. So the first thing I'm going to do is you'll see I have these kind of three properties. First one is called elements. This is basically our list of all of the elements in this category. So if I click on the list button, you'll see that basically it opens up this list with these 8 records in them. Those 8 records happen to be each one of my punch list issues. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to click to table. And this is going to, and then you don't have to enter anything here. We can just click OK. And what this is going to do is basically bring all the items in that list into my table. Okay, so the next step here is we're going to actually expand this column and create a column for every single property in each one of my issues. So I'm going to hit OK. And you'll see that basically what this did is it created a column for each one of my properties in Layer. But these are just the kind of general properties, like who it was created by, when it was created at, the name of the issue, those types of things. But we actually want to see the field data, for example, the category of the punch list, the issue, the photos of the issue, maybe, those types of things. And so to see that, we need to expand this column here called fields. And once you expand this column, you'll see that basically this is where all of your fields show up. So I'm going to click OK. And you can see that now it's brought in, it's created a column for each one of my fields. And I can continue expanding these as I need to. But you'll see that data is coming in, like my description and other items as well. So once you have your data structured the way that you want it, by the way, you can double click to edit these column names. This does not impact the way the data is brought in. You'll see that every change I make shows up as an applied step here. This means that it's going to be treated the exact same way the next time it's brought in. Let's expand one more column like this status, for example, and I'm going to click expand to new rows. And you can see that basically now this just updates this column to show the actual status of each one of these issues. The last step here, once I have the data structured in the way that I wanted in Power Query Editor, I can click up here to close and load. And what this does is it loads all of this data into my Excel spreadsheet in the way that I specified it in the query editor. So you can see all the data right here. Now, the nice part about this is you don't have to go back through these steps in order to get updated information here. For example, let's watch the status of this first item here. I'm going to go into layer and I'm going to update the status for issue 6, it looks like. And so when I do that, let's go to issue 6. I'm going to mark it as in progress instead of complete. And when I do that, and when I come back into Excel, all I have to do is click refresh, which is going to get the latest data from that API call that we defined. And when I click on that, you can see that that status is now updated to in progress. So hopefully this helps you sync data from your layer environment to Excel using the layer API. Hopefully it gives you some ideas on how you can utilize that. That's all. Thanks.